Hi, aloha, how you doing? My name's David Michaels. I'm a mystic, spiritual explorer. I'm also a working actor, writer, director in Hollywood. And on this channel, we talk about all kinds of things related to personal growth, life purpose, connecting with God, spirituality, metaphysics in general. I love talking about that stuff with you guys. And today's video actually came from one of your questions. So someone actually asked me, what do I think about twin flames, soulmates? Do they even exist? Are they real? Does everybody have one? This was a great question, and I really thought about it and called up my best friend. I'm like, what do you think? What are your questions? Like, if I'm going to do a video about this, like, what do you wonder about currently? What did you wonder about previously that maybe now you have an answer to, but you didn't always? Just what could be helpful to people out there watching this? And together we came up with a whole list of questions that we're going to go through one by one in this video. But as just moments ago, I'm sitting down and getting ready to record. Before I do these videos, I do a quick little prayer. I connect into my heart and ask for guidance about, God, what do you want to communicate to people? What message do you want to share through me through this video? And when I was about to start, I was still very much in my head. I have a list of all these questions and I know what I'm going to say about them, but I was just like, I can do better. I want to be in my heart when I'm sharing these things. So I dug a little deeper. I put on some music, and as I'm reflecting on, meditating on soulmates, something interesting surfaced in me, and it was this question of, am I good enough for love? Do I get a soulmate? Am I worthy enough for that? So, a little about my background. I'm now entering my mid 40s. I know I look good, right? uh, I do a lot of smoothies for breakfast, fresh fruit. It's good for the skin. Anyway, um, when I was in high school and in college, every 2, 3 weeks, I would meet somebody new and be like, "Oh my gosh, I just met my soulmate. She's the one. I thought that last one was my soulmate, but it turns out she wasn't. Oh well." But now this new one, definitely she's my soulmate. And this happened like a lot. Uh, I was I was really hopeful and searching hard, and for additional context, my parents met when they were in high school. They were high school sweethearts, and I think, were married by the time they were 20, I want to say. So I assumed for me, surely by the end of college, by 21, 22, 23 years old, because who finishes a 4 year degree in 4 years these days, right? It's always 4.5, 5 years easy. And I figured, by the time I finished college, uh, I would have at least met my soulmate, if not actually gotten married. And spoiler alert, I did not. Um, I have had some beautiful relationships over the years, but as far as I know, I have not met my soulmate yet. I'm still single at this time that I'm recording this video. So, take that, everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Like, I try to speak from personal experience in all these videos. I don't want to just like repeat what I've heard elsewhere because you can hear it from them. I want to make this personal. I want to make this authentic and real for you. So I will share what I know, what I believe, what I think. Decide for yourself what resonates with you. Use it as food for thought to agree with or disagree with. That's fine. It won't hurt my feelings if you disagree. Let's create a discussion in the comments. Which ones do you agree with? Which ones do you think differently on? Like, I would like to hear your perspective. When I was as a teenager, still living at home, I don't know, we'll say around 16 plus or minus, I actually asked my parents if they believed in soulmates and if they were each other's soulmate. And I was I'm in the minority now where my parents never got divorced. They met in high school, they were married at 20, and my dad has since passed on, and they literally were till death do they part. Um, they took their marriage vows very seriously and worked through their problems, and they were committed. They had a lifelong marriage, which a lot of people can't say these days. Um, so at the time, they'd only been together a couple decades, and I asked them, like, okay, so do you believe in soulmates? Are you each other's soulmates? And my mom, no hesitation, she's like, yep, your father is definitely my soulmate. I believe in them, and 100% no doubt. And then I go to my dad, and he had a different response. He's like, well, he said, I think you choose someone to love, and they become your soulmate. It's in that, you find someone that's compatible, you shared values, goals, that kind of thing. He was a little more practical about it, right? And the commitment, the decision that I'm going to love this person no matter what, through thick and thin, good times and bad. I'm going to keep loving them, and I'm going to make this a soulmate relationship. And I'm really glad I got these differing perspectives, because I think they might both be right. I think there could be souls out there that you are just spiritually, naturally compatible with. They might be from your soul group, your soul family on the other side, and maybe you've had multiple lifetimes together. We'll get into all that later in this video, but like there could be a destined official for certain spiritual soulmate, like a lot of us commonly use that term. But also, I think my dad was right too, that in any relationship, if both people are choosing to grow deeply in love with each other, they're choosing to have that commitment, that intimacy, that bond, that depth, love can grow and build anywhere, and it can become a soulmate relationship with anybody where the two people choose to build that together. So you can be a soulmate with anyone you choose, if obviously both sides are willing to make it that, to work on that. So let's jump into the questions, and I'll share what I think about each one of them. So this first one comes up a lot. Do we get just one soulmate? Like, is there only the one perfect match, the one heart that you belong to and they belong to you? Because what happens if you miss each other, or they die, or something messes up and there was a communication breakdown, or they cheated on you, or whatever, you break up and you're no longer together? Does that mean like you don't get love anymore? There's no other soulmates out there? There certainly are people who do believe in the theory that there's just the one soulmate. You're the one. That's it. And you know what? It works great in the movies, because it's that certainty, and like, there's no doubt. This is the best of the best. I don't have to worry. I don't have to keep looking. I don't have to keep wondering and guessing, like, is there a better relationship out there? Like, some sign in the universe told me, like, this is your person. You're not making a mistake. It's the right choice. It's the best choice. And I get it. Like, that's very desirable. It's very tempting to want that comfort, that certainty of there's just the one and you found them. But me personally, I believe there are multiple ones. I believe that depending on who you are and depending on who they are, you might be compatible with a lot of people. You might be compatible with a smaller number of people, but you can have that soulmate relationship with multiple people. And we're talking, romantic soulmate relationships here, whether that leads to marriage and kids and not, or not, whatever the case might be. I think every relationship is going to be a little different. It's going to have its own flavor. It's going to be a unique experience from one person to the next, but they can all be very rich and full and deep committed love and something special. And the stuff that love songs and romance movies are all, written about and inspired by. I think we get multiple people out there that we can have that with. Again, they're not going to be identical relationships. It's kind of like to use a really rough analogy here, this is not a perfect example, but you probably have more than one favorite kind of food, right? Not even food, just desserts. Like maybe you like a rich chocolate lava cake one day and coconut cake the next day, and maybe a banana split ice cream sundae another day, something with sprinkles, whatever. Cookies, like, ooh, like brownies or chocolate chip cookies fresh out of the oven. Like, it's all good. It's all delicious. Now, are they the same good, delicious experience? Obviously not. And I think it can be the same way with romantic relationships. Each one of them can be really good. It could be exactly what you want and need in life at that time, at this stage of your life. But it's not going to be the same as a different person. And they could both be good. They're just different kinds of good. Now, that said, this leads us into our next question, which actually the comment was that prompted this video specifically asked about twin flames. I was taught, because I studied world religions and philosophy in college, and of course we came across this concept in our studies. And as it was taught to me, the concept of a twin flame is there was one soul that split into two bodies, and they're each other's half. And when they're together, they balance. They're a whole. There's a desire to rejoin because they came from one. That's how I understand twin flames to be. Are they real? Do they exist? I don't know, to be perfectly honest, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Speaking from my own personal experience, in fact, the last romantic relationship I was with, she felt initially that we were twin flames for each other. And I always tune into my intuition, into my own heart and soul. Like anytime we talk about anything spiritual, metaphysical, like I'm like, okay, is that true? And does that apply to me? And I had to be honest with her. I'm like, look, we have an amazing connection. I do feel a strong draw to you, and this is a beautiful, great relationship. But I didn't feel that I myself was a twin flame, that my soul had split into two bodies. And when we talked about it, I found out like she didn't really mean it in that sense anyway. She meant like super soulmates, that, we just had a better than average, extra strong connection and bond, something really special. So we just changed it to super soulmates, and we were both comfortable and happy with that. But that wasn't an easy discussion for me because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I also have to be honest, and I don't want to mislead anybody either. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, I'm currently single, so apparently we weren't soulmates either. Good person, just we discovered there were, as we got to know each other over time, just some big key things in life that were major incompatibilities. Would be very wrong fit, bad, difficult to mesh together. Just life goals going completely different directions, kind of thing. Nobody was right or wrong in it. It was just very different paths. So I genuinely wish her well, but we're not together now. So David's still single. I mentioned earlier, like depending on who you are, your life path, your particular goals, dreams, values, you might be compatible with a large percentage of people, or you might be compatible with only a very small percentage. And I feel for me, I'm more that latter category, that I don't live a very common traditional life. I love kids. I get along great with kids, but I don't feel called to be a dad myself. I don't have a traditional stable 9 to 5 job. Like I said, I'm an actor and writer and director. Like there's no job security in what I do. My life, I love my life. It's an adventure. I'm having fun. It feels right for me, but I also know it's not right for everybody else. And I just need to find somebody who's compatible on a similar path, similar journey. It doesn't mean she has to be in the industry as well or whatever. Although if she is, great. Um, but obviously, we both would want to be child free. That's a key thing. There's got to be spirituality, obviously, such a big part of my life. Um, I don't want to have to hide it or feel like she's thinks I'm crazy the whole time. So I need someone with compatible beliefs. And because I'm not part of a mainstream large religion, um, it's just harder for me to find people with those matching beliefs. They're out there, but I just run into them less often. So anyway, I think that's why I'm more in the latter category of like, I'm sure there's multiple people I'm compatible with that I could have a great relationship with. I just, maybe it's a smaller percentage than somebody who's living a very different life might have. And maybe that's your case too. Maybe that's because I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're not currently with your soulmate or you're not sure if you are. Uh, if you were certain you were with your soulmate, why are you watching a video on soulmates, right? Where we watch to learn, to grow, to manifest what we want in our lives, what we feel might be missing. So, you're into this spirituality and personal growth stuff too. In my experience, that's a smaller percentage of the population. And that might be why it's taking you longer to find somebody. They're out there. You just run into them less frequently. It just takes more meetings of people to find the one, just because of the odds, right? As far as twin flames go, I said I wouldn't be surprised if they do exist. And the reason I say that, so even though I feel I'm not that, I can't speak from personal experience. I do look at the physical world, at nature, and how much diversity and variety and beauty and so many options show up in nature. And you have to assume, okay, if God created everything, if it's the same creator for the whole reality, for the whole universe, why would God be super diverse and super creative in one area and not the other areas? So I imagine on the other side, in the spiritual world, there's probably at least as much variety too. We know there's human souls, there's angels, depending on your beliefs, there might be star seeds, life on other planets, souls that started in an alien body. But I think it goes beyond that. I think there's a richness of all kinds of life, all kinds of variety there. And with that comes all kinds of relationships and experiences of relationships. So it seems to me very probable, especially since a large number of people do believe in twin flames, there's a good chance that that does exist. And I'm just going to mention this real quick because I'm sure most of us have already considered this, but just in case you haven't come across this yet, I do believe there's other kinds of soulmates too besides romantic. Generally, when people say the word soulmate or twin flame, they mean romantic relationship, but all the evidence seems to indicate that our souls belong to a group, a family, a tribe of souls on the other side, and will often incarnate and overlap lifetimes together. Not always, or they might take turns, and maybe there'll be a guide for you in one time, as a spirit, and then the next time you will be on the other side and guide them when they're in a body. There's all kinds of options, right? We're talking about variety again, but I believe certain souls can have a pre-existing strong love connection to each other prior to when you first met in this physical body. And or maybe you did meet for the first time as souls in this lifetime in bodies, and you begin a new soulmate relationship. You start to create that bond, and now they're becoming part of your soul family, and you're building this new soul relationship, this new soulmate that you may join together with them again in future lifetimes if you reincarnate, or maybe you just hang out as besties in the afterlife for all eternity. Soulmate relationships, I believe, can start at any time and can also appear, previous existing relationships can show up anywhere, anytime. And they could be in the romantic relationship, but they could be a coworker, could be a best friend, it could even be in your pet, any other kind of relationship. There's souls, there's life energy in everything, every living thing. So yeah, I do believe it's possible for that strong love bond to pre-exist this body, this lifetime, and then you meet in person in the body somewhere along the way. And maybe it's just for a little while, just for a season, to help each other heal and grow or accomplish some goal. And maybe they're like lifelong best friends or business partners or whatever, um, or obviously romantic too. So that's another possibility. Soulmates can be beyond just romantic. Now, this is a question my friend came up with, and I thought was really good. Can your soulmates change over time? And I do believe yes. And when she asked that, I tuned into my own guides. I'm like, what do you say? And they showed me that the love bond never goes away. That's real, that stays constant. But depending on which direction the soul grows, how you evolve as a soul over time, it may be more beneficial for you to start to partner up with different souls who are also on that same journey or can help on that journey, kind of thing. So new souls can enter your group, your soulmate circle, um, that weren't there before, because now you've grown. Now you're entering a new stage in your life and your soul's overall journey, and it's beneficial, it's appropriate, it's helpful for you guys to now connect and build that deep, loving soulmate relationship with each other. And if you and a previous soulmate just grew in different directions, that's fine. And you might not like be physically in each other's lives all the time anymore, but the love is still real. The connection is still there. You still are grateful to each other for helping both of you get as far as you did together. Because it's always a step along the journey, right? And you guys couldn't have gotten to where you are without each other. So there's always this gratitude, this love, this connection, this appreciation. You never lose any soulmate relationships, but who's active in your life now can change depending on who you are now, where you're growing, what you're doing now. And as we were just talking about a moment ago, new soulmate relationships can begin. You can meet new souls and start a new soulmate relationship. Now, what if you have a very important, specific life mission or purpose? Could a soulmate romantic relationship get in the way, interfere, be a distraction? Is it possible some of us don't have a soulmate in order to fulfill our life mission? One of my other friends actually shared this belief with me, and he was saying that he used to, we all love, right? We all want that connection, that high, those relationships, those beautiful experiences and memories together. But he felt for him, it would distract him from his calling, from his life purpose, from his mission. And that is why he believed he didn't have anybody in his life right now, and possibly ever. He had some great relationships before, but now felt it was time to focus on something else. And let's be honest, like that relationship, I mean, they're in a human body too, just like you. They have needs. They need your time, your attention, your love. Like they're gonna have rough days and need some extra support and you taking care of them, kind of thing. And there's gonna be days when you need that from them, and you should prioritize your human soulmate. Like the at least how I think of it, your number one relationship is with yourself. You got to love you first, because as much as you can love others, it's limited by how much and how deep you can love yourself, and you can only feel loved by others. You can only receive love to the limit that you allow yourself to receive it, that you believe you're worthy of. So, number one, your first relationship is with yourself. Learn to love you as much as possible, as completely as possible, as unconditionally as possible. And that is hard work. You can spend a lifetime, multiple lifetimes just working on that. Um, and then love God, love the people closest to you, your close friends, your family, your romantic partner, and then love out further your immediate community, and then, to the world kind of thing. And like that order. So your romantic soulmate is really high up on the list. They should come like right after you, or you and God kind of thing. They take priority. They're going to take your time, your energy, as it should be, just like you would give to your kids if you have kids, hopefully, right? They need your love and attention too. And depending on your life's work, your mission, your career, your purpose, maybe you don't have the time and energy and resources available to commit to those human relationships and still have enough left over to do all the other work you have in the world. So is it possible that that's the case for you? Like maybe you don't have a romantic soulmate because your life's work is too important, and there's just not enough time or emotional energy or whatever to do both a romantic partner and your life's work at the same time. I would say that's possible, but here is what I believe how you can tell the difference. Okay, here's how you can know real quick and easy if you have a soulmate or not. When you are in a good space, when your heart is full, when you feel loved, so you're not desperate, you're not trying to fill a hole, okay? You're in a good place emotionally, you're feeling loved and taken care of right now. While you're in that state, check in with your heart and say, do I want a soulmate? If you get yes, odds are you have a soulmate, because you're not coming from a place of lack or need or desperation or loneliness or scarcity or fear or anything like that. You're already feeling loved. You're already full in your heart. And if you still would like that relationship in your life to add to your life, not to solve a problem, not to fill a hole, but just, I have so much love to give. I want to also love a human person as a soulmate relationship. If you say yes in that circumstance, I believe you have a soulmate. If in that place, you're like, you know what? I don't know that I necessarily want or need one. Like, I'm good. Then maybe that romantic partnership isn't part of your life plan. Or if it shows up, it's bonus. Great. No complaints, but you're not looking for it. You don't need it either. So you're like in a golden spot, right? You're good no matter what happens. And ideally, that's where we want to be no matter what, right? But this leads into our next question. Do you have to be fully healed before you can meet your soulmate? Oh man, have I been guilty of this one. Obviously, you want to be the best version of you when you and your soulmate meet, right? You want to have as little work in the relationship as possible so you can enjoy all the good stuff. But let's be honest, we're human beings. We're always growing. There's always some wound that isn't fully healed, some trauma we went through that maybe we can handle it, we've processed it, it doesn't affect us anymore, but like in certain circumstances, it might touch a sensitive spot and there might be a little trigger that pops up again. And maybe you're quick to heal it and address it and release it or whatever, but like there's no being fully ready, is my point. There's no you're perfect and now you're ready to receive a romantic relationship. And I know this for a fact because I have seen so many other people, friends over the years, who were mental and emotional messes And by, on paper, by anyone's judgment or definition, be like, well, they're not ready for a relationship. They're not going to attract love. Who's going to want to be with that? Their life is a mess. They're a mess. They're an emotional minefield, whatever. And yet they still found love. They still found somebody. They are married to that person to this day. So clearly, real love doesn't need you to be fixed and healed and ready. I had a hard time believing that. I really struggled with that. And I was always like working myself like, oh, I just need to heal this. I need to improve that. And I need to fix this. And then I'll be good enough for my soulmate. Then I'll be ready and she'll show up and be able to love me because all this stuff won't be in the way. That's what I used to believe. What I've learned about real love since then is it's not real love if it's untested, if it's convenient, if there's no challenge, there's no problem, there's no conflict, there's no issues. That's when you know you really love someone. When things aren't all rainbows and roses, you butt heads on something, you run into an issue, there's a weakness, a flaw, a wound, something in your partner, and you say, you know what, I still love you in this moment anyway, and if you want my help, I will help you through this. I will be there for you. I'll hold space. I will just be a listening ear, a friend. I will support you in your growth. Like maybe you need to get a therapist or go to AA or whatever the case may be, to do the work and grow as a person, and they will support you in that journey. They will help you along the way and hold your hand, have your back, not judge you through it, but support you. That's real love. Not just when things are easy and good and fun. That's having fun. And that, I think, is what can start the seeds of love, because you're like, hey, I have a great connection with this person. I have a lot of fun with this person. This is someone I enjoy spending time with. And maybe that's the seeds. That's where love begins to grow. But sooner or later, our humanness shows up. And that's when love is proven. That's when you know it's real. It's not shallow roots, like it's something deeper. It's something that could withstand the highs and lows of life. And real love is not conditional. Real love doesn't need you to be perfect. Real love doesn't need you to be whole and heal and fixed and have all your problems solved. Real love accepts you where you're at, sees the best in you in that moment, and also sees the potential of who you could be and supports you in that growth if you want to grow that way. And if you want to grow a different way, real love says, okay, that's who you want to be. I will love and support you to be the best version of you. Because real love wants you to be happy. Real love wants you to be healthy. Real love wants you to be authentic, to express your real self. And that does not mean that that's a free pass that you no longer should grow or heal. It means while you're growing and healing, you still get love. Now, in the movies, in the love songs, in the romance novels, like, there's this idea of love at first sight. You see someone across a crowded room and you just knew that's the one for me, right? And I have met people in my own personal life, friends, who had that experience. There's been a few of them where both usually it's on the man's side, but I think it's once or twice was with the from the woman's perspective too. But like, he would tell me, yeah, we were at this event, at this party, whatever, and I just saw her across the room, had never met her before, knew nothing about her, and something just told me that's the girl you're gonna marry. Like, he just knew. And then they got together and started to meet each other and fell in love, found out they were compatible after all, and built a beautiful, loving relationship, and are married decades later. Um, Sometimes that happens, but at the same time, I've met plenty of people where they did not think that at all. And they're like, yeah, we were just friends at first, and then it grew into romantic love. Or sometimes they found the other person annoying, uh, didn't care for them at all, whatever. And the person was just persistent. And finally, like, they opened up, gave them a chance, got to know them, and then love grew. I think the truth is it can happen that way, but it might not necessarily happen that way. So, my recommendation is be open. If you meet someone and you just have this intuitive knowing, like, that's the person I'm going to be with, that's my soulmate. Great, trust it. That happens. I've seen that happen with people I know in my personal life. But if it doesn't happen, that does not mean that they're not your soulmate. I realize there's a lot of double negatives there, so let me word it differently. You could meet your soulmate without it being obvious right away. It may take time to discover that they're your soulmate. That can happen too. So be open to either possibility. And I know for myself and many of my friends who are single, we kind of like secretly hope, we'll just know, we'll just sense it. And maybe it'll play out that way. Just don't limit yourself to that, because you might miss an amazing relationship just because there wasn't that immediate spark, that immediate knowing, that immediate intuitive aha realization, whatever. Have some good, deep conversations. Talk about what's important to you. See, that's the other issue. A lot of people will date for a long time, but they never go deep. And they might even like get to the point of being engaged and getting married sometimes, and they never really got to discover who the person is at a deep level. You don't have to wait a long time. You can fairly quickly, depending on who you are and your comfort level and how open they are and that kind of thing. Trust should be earned. Trust is built. Don't just open up your whole inner life to a stranger, but feel it out and test them with smaller things. And if they handle that well, then share something a little bit bigger, a little bit more personal. And if they handle that well, then go even deeper. Okay. And very quickly, within a few weeks to a few months, you should have a good sense of who each other is and if there's the potential for a long-term relationship there or not. You don't have to waste a long time of your life to find that out, but you do have to go deep. You do have to open up, be real, be honest, be vulnerable, have the tough conversations sometimes. Like, this might not be what they want to hear, but if it's true, if it's real, if it's authentic, if it's important to you, you got to talk about it. And if they do have the staying power, if they are a potential soulmate, they will be able to have that conversation with you. And if they can't hold those deep conversations with you, they're probably not your soulmate. Now, is it possible to meet and talk with your soulmate in your dreams before you meet them? I love this question. And my friend actually pitched it to me, and because she's single right now, but recently has been having a lot of dreams, like almost every night, where she meets a soulmate. And sometimes they're just hanging out and just having a sweet moment together, and sometimes it's a little more special and intimate. And is that just a dream and nothing more? Is that just her subconscious mind generating that? Or is she actually psychically, telepathically meeting with her real soulmate in each other's dreams? I know for myself, it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while, I'll have a dream where there's a girl in it, and there's just this feeling of that's my future soulmate that I haven't met in person yet. And when I was younger, I remember like sometimes she would just be like behind the scenes, like we maybe wouldn't interact much or only briefly. But the dream was showing me like she was sending me little gifts from behind the scenes, which could just be a message for me that she's praying for me in real life, and that she's asking God to bless me or something like that. Like maybe that's all the dream was telling me. Um, I've had other dreams where I've had dreams where I was in a romantic relationship with somebody, but it didn't have that feeling, that quality of like, this girl's different. This one, there's a soul bond. This one, there's something special. Like, this is the one you're going to be with in real life, in a body at some point in your future. Others felt just like dreams. They were just a character in a dream to express some emotion or some thought I was working through and processing, or whatever. Dreams serve multiple purposes, right? We can receive messages and guidance from them. I mean, you can meet your guardian angel in a dream. I did that when I was a kid. Um, Sometimes our loved ones who have already crossed over can visit us in our dreams. So dreams can be a way to communicate on the spiritual level. And they can also just be dreams and nothing more. It could just be something generated by your own imagination, your own subconscious. But I do believe it is possible. And give it a try. Set the intention. Say a little prayer. If you want to do that, like as you're settling into bed, getting ready to go to sleep, just in your heart, just energetically, telepathically, try to reach out and connect to whoever your soulmate is and say, hey, I'm going to sleep now. I would like to meet you in my dreams. Do you want to meet me there? Hope to see you there. I love you either way, right? And then you go to sleep and see what happens. The thing is, I don't remember most of my dreams, so I could be dreaming about her more often and not even know it. It's actually rare that I wake up and remember a dream, and that could be possible for you too. But in my experience with myself, with friends, as well as everything I've read and learned about what's possible in the research of can we visit each other and communicate to each other in the dream state, it appears the answer is yes. How do we meet our soulmate? How do we find them? Well, again, I haven't met mine yet, but my life has been a crazy adventure with a lot of twists and turns. I've moved around a lot. I've made it hard for her to find me, to be honest. um, but this is what I believe. And it comes from both what I've learned from other people that I trust who have met their soulmates, as well as what my own guides have told me over and over again. So, this is the guidance I have received from my angels about what to do to meet my soulmate. And it's really simple. Basically, you got to be your authentic self so that when they meet you, they recognize you, because they're into whatever kind of person you actually are. That's why they're your soulmate and not an enemy or somebody else, right? So if you're faking it, if you're putting on a mask, you're trying to like fit in and have, this is socially appropriate, this is what other people want me to be or expect me to be, or, I don't want to be too weird and talk about whatever, even though I'm like super passionate about it. You could meet your soulmate at a party or something or at work, and they would never know that you have this shared interest. And it could be that shared interest that you guys start to bond over, that you start talking and like, oh my gosh, you're into this too. What do you think about this? And do you also love that? And you guys can get excited and find a kindred spirit, a fellow pea in a pod. And that can be the beginning of the relationship, what initially connects you guys together. And then you get to know each other and go deeper and find out like, wow, we're both single, we're both have compatible values and life goals, lifestyles. Let's take this deeper. But if you're not showing the real you, they're going to have a heck of a time recognizing you. Flip it around, right? You're out there looking for your soulmate. You know what you're into. You know what you care about. You know what's important to you. If everybody around you is hiding that stuff from you, how do you know? It could be someone in the same room as you. You could be talking to them in that moment and not know that they have this shared thing with you. So obviously, don't like force it into a conversation, but don't hide it either. If there's an opportunity for it to organically, naturally come up, or close enough to naturally, like, well, we can kind of segue into this. It's related to what we're talking about. Don't be afraid. The worst that's going to happen is whoever you're talking with is not going to share the interest. They might think you're a little weird, but most likely they're just like, well, whatever, let's go back to talking about this other thing. And now okay, well, this is a big important thing to me. My soulmate is going to be at least compatible with it and okay with it, if not share it as well. And they're just selecting themselves out for you. They're letting you know very quickly they're not your soulmate, and you can move on and keep looking elsewhere. Okay. So that's step one. You gotta be your authentic self. You should be your authentic self anyway, because that's how God made you, and it's beautiful. You exist for a reason. You are adding to the diversity and the beauty of the universe. Don't hide that. Share it in a way that feels right to you. You don't have to go public and start a podcast or anything about it unless you want to. But engage in it and share it with the people you care about. Share it with people you might befriend or start dating, potentially, right? And see if there's that common ground. And the second part, which kind of extends naturally from being authentic, is just get busy living your life. Do what you love, do what's important to you, just live your life, have fun, go to the movies if you want to go to the movies, start a business if you want to start a business, go on a road trip or hike out in nature, or go to the local comic book shop and find a D&D group, whatever you're into. Just go live your life, be you, and do what you want to do. And there's a very logical, rational reason for that. You're being authentic, which we just talked about. And now you're doing your authentic self with other people who have that shared interest. Or even if you're not like directly doing it, like maybe you love to hike out in nature and you don't have any friends to do that with, or they're not available, they're at work or something, right? Go hiking by yourself if you want. And while you're on the trails, you might meet somebody who's also hiking by themselves, and you might start walking and talking together. So even if the thing you love to do doesn't immediately involve other people, there's a chance you could run into other people along the way who also enjoy doing that. And now there's that recognized common lifestyle, common values, common interests. So that's the guidance I've always received. Just be yourself. Don't hide who you are. And just live your life. Beyond that, the only other advice is follow your guidance, follow your intuition. Pray for guidance. Your guides want to help you find this relationship, okay? So, because they know what a good and beautiful thing it'll be, a healing thing. It'll grow love. They're all about helping you grow and experience more love in life and putting more love into the world. Soulmate relationships are an amazing way to do that. So pray, ask for help to God, to your angels, to, whatever higher spiritual power you believe in. Ask for that help, ask for that guidance, and then listen to your intuition. Act on it. If you just get this nudge where you're like, I don't know why, I just feel like going this way to work today instead of that way. I feel like just going to this store for some reason. I don't have to buy anything right now, but I just feel like going there. I don't know why. Or you might feel guided to go onto a certain dating site or app. But if you're not feeling guided to do that, don't waste your time. Do what you feel guided to do, what you feel inspired to do, what feels good for you to do. Not what you should do, not what all the books say to do, not what all the dating gurus say to do. They're giving general advice that has worked for people, but you're not general people, you're you. And maybe that advice applies to you, and you'll know to follow it because it feels good to you. It feels intuitively guided, it resonates. You're like, yeah, I like that idea. I want to do that. That's the key. If you being you being authentically you, receive a suggestion about how to find your soulmate and you like it, it feels good, you want to do it, then you should do it. That's guidance. Spiritual guidance isn't always like a booming voice in the sky or a burning bush or a sign billboard on a, whatever. Like, often guidance is just a very subtle inspiration, a subtle nudge that, you don't know why, you just feel, just do that, go that way, talk to that person, whatever. That is your spirit guide helping you along. It doesn't have to be a voice that you hear. A lot of times guidance is just that feels good. That feels inspired. That sounds fun. I want to do that. And if that desire also doesn't make any logical sense, like, really listen to it because it's most likely guidance. If it makes logical sense, then it could be guidance, but it could just be your brain just trying to figure things out. It could be either one. But if it doesn't make rational sense to your head, you're like, I don't know why I'm doing that, but it doesn't make any sense to me, but it just feels right. That's intuition. That's spiritual guidance. That is God and your angels talking to you right in that moment. Okay? So if you're praying for guidance, for help to meet your soulmate, listen to those nudges. Listen to that inspiration. Listen to that just feels good, sounds fun, want to do it just because. And it's authentically aligned with who you are and what you want to do. There's a part of me all the way back to my teens and early 20s that kind of had this thought, this feeling in the back of my mind, like an intuitive almost, there was a chance I might not meet my soulmate when I was young, that I might have to wait a while. And I even said a prayer asking God, like, if that were the case, and if it were possible for me to meet my soulmate in advance, but not know she was my soulmate at the time, and nothing would like screw up the timeline, nothing would mess up with the life plan. We'd go our separate ways until we met again later in life when we were scheduled to. And one day I was working on the manifesting. I was going through the workbooks, manifest your soulmate and all that kind of stuff. And I had written my list of ideal qualities I wanted in a partner and what our relationship was going to be like. And, help you envision and feel it and manifest it and all that stuff, right? And when I finished that list and I kind of reviewed it, I'm like, yeah, this all feels good. I had this random thought, this intuition. It could have been my guide or God saying, in so many months, days, hours, minutes, I would meet the person on this list. This could have been my hopeful imagination. I don't know for sure. But just in case, I jotted it down. I wrote down the date and time that I finished the list and how long supposedly I was supposed to wait. And then forgot about it. And in the time in between, I ended up moving across the country from Florida to California. And as I was walking along the beach, it was the afternoon. It was probably a weekday, I'm assuming, and there weren't many people around. And this was this was like in the San Diego County area where they have like a lot of like bluffs, a lot of cliffs, where you can kind of carefully walk some trails. And along the rock ledge, along that bluff, there was this girl in a wetsuit just sitting there looking out at the ocean by herself, meditating, reflecting. I don't know what. And I felt this inexplicable draw, this intuitive nudge, go talk to her. And I've gotten feelings like that before, where I'm out in public and I'm just drawn to a stranger and I feel an intuitive nudge, like, just go talk to them. And all I have to do is like go say hi, some small talk, nice day, whatever kind of thing. And very quickly they'll open up and they'll share something and I'll realize why I was guided to talk to them. I was able to offer some counseling, some support, some hope, something. Give them a hug. Maybe they're going through a hard day. That's happened multiple times before. So I recognize that pull, like, just go talk to that stranger, trust us. There's a higher reason for it. And it felt like that, but I was just not in a good mental emotional state in that moment. And I negotiated. I'm like, okay, I'm walking down this way. I have to come back this way anyway to get to my car. If she's still there and I'm still feeling that nudge, then I'll, work my way up to her ledge and say hi. And that's what ended up happening. I walk back. She's still there. I'm still feeling the nudge. Yep, go talk to her. I'm like, okay. So I kind of take the trail, get to the spot where she's at, just, sitting out watching this, the sun was starting to head down. It was late afternoon and, beautiful ocean view. And she was so deep in whatever, just admiring the view or meditating. I don't know what she was doing. And I just sit there for a moment. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? And she hasn't like even acknowledged me yet. So I just say something like, yeah, what a beautiful view, something like that. And it startled her. She's like, what? Oh, sorry, I didn't see you coming. didn't realize you were there. And we just had like simple small talk, just a couple back and forth exchanges. And then nothing. And normally by this point, when I'm guided to talk to somebody, something comes up and it's like, okay, that's why I was guided to them. And instead, we're just like, okay. After an awkward moment, she gets up to leave. And right before she does, though, she turns around and introduces herself and we shake hands. So she says her name. And as we're shaking hands, my angel tells to me to notice a particular physical characteristic in her face. I'm not going to share here for privacy reasons, but it's something cute. And years prior, when I was trying to sense telepathically, psychically, anything I could about my soulmate, I felt that she had this characteristic, that she had this feature. And I hadn't noticed it yet. But as we were shaking hands and my angel said, hey, look, I was like, oh my gosh, she has that. And then we said, nice meeting you, have a great day. And she went her separate way and wandered off back to her car or something. And I sat there for a few more minutes. I'm like, okay, that was weird. Why did I feel so guided to talk to this person? And nothing came of it. And after a while, I'm like, okay, well, I enjoyed the view for a minute. I meditated for a moment and then got up and went back home myself. And it wasn't until months after that, after I ended up turning down that original job offer, I found another job, worked that for a little while, and then ended up moving back to Florida. And I found that old journal where I had written that soulmate wish list. And I saw the date and how long it was supposed to be when I met the person. And I was like, oh, we're past that point now. When was that? And I did the math. And if you adjust for like time zones and stuff, I was like, that could very well line up with that afternoon that I met that girl. And I wondered, oh my gosh, was that my soulmate? And then I'm not going to meet her for a while, but God answered my prayer of getting to meet her early in life in a way that wasn't going to mess with either of our life plans. I wasn't going to alter the timeline or anything. I don't know. For the record, like, I am totally open to that just being a weird, fun story and nothing more. Maybe my soulmate is somebody else. I'm 100% okay with that. But I don't know who my soulmate is because I'm not with her yet. I haven't met her yet. And what if, like, if that does turn out to be her, what a cool story. And you heard it here first. If it does play out that way, this video is going to be uploaded long before that happens. So maybe. What a fun story if that's how it plays out. But again, it doesn't have to. I'm open and neutral. I've gotten to a point in life where I'm okay whether I have a soulmate or not. I'm good with being single. I'm comfortable being single. I am living and loving my life without a partner. But in that place of being full and feeling loved and not neediness, not clinginess, not desperation, not loneliness, when I tune in, ask my heart, like, I would like somebody. I think it would be fun. I think it would add something to life. I think it would add richness and beauty and more fun than I'm already doing. And so I guess that means I have a soulmate. Certainly, when I pray about it, God and my guides seem to imply that there's someone in a physical human body right now on this planet at the same time that I'm going to be with at some point. But it's a fun little story I wanted to share with you. Thanks for sitting through and watching. And you can do a similar prayer. You could say, God, if it's going to be a while and it's possible for us to meet without messing anything up, you can ask for that if you want. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on this very big topic. But I started this video with, I wanted to go deeper. And as I was searching my own heart and soul, the question came up, am I good enough for love? And I think a lot of us, when we're looking for a soulmate, certainly myself for many, many years, I was looking for a soulmate because I needed to feel loved. And there's no shame in that. It's okay if that's where you're at. Many people are in that energy when they find somebody. And you can still heal and grow and maybe they help you learn that you're lovable with or without a soulmate while you're with your soulmate. Like, there's many ways to do it. But for me in my journey, I was seeking love because I wasn't sure I could get it, that I was worthy of it, that I deserved it. I needed a soulmate to feel loved, to feel wanted, to feel valued, appreciated. And once I really realized that, got honest with myself about that, I realized I don't have to wait for a soulmate, and I shouldn't put all that pressure on a soulmate. I can start giving that to myself. I can start practicing loving myself, honoring myself, valuing myself, being kind to myself, respecting myself, caring for myself. Everything I wanted from the outside, I started giving on the inside to myself. And I started with listening. Hey, David, what do you need in this moment? What do you want in this moment? What can I give you in this moment? And, I'm a big cuddler. I love to cuddle. And your physical touch is my primary love language. It's tough to do by yourself, but often inner me would say, I want that cuddling feeling. I want that loving touch. So I bought myself like one of those really super soft blankets that just, you feel it on your skin and it's just the best, right? And I got like a big size one, so I could just really just swaddle myself in it in bed, and I could cuddle myself. And I got one of those big body pillows that you can kind of hug and cuddle. And you can even like just give yourself affectionate touch and hugs. Um, you know, where you feel you need it in your body, in the way, like, is it soft? Is it firm? Is there motion, or is it just holding? Like, listen to yourself, listen to your body, give you what you need. And through doing stuff like that and filling up my life just doing what I love with or without a partner and giving myself love in other ways that I need, I'm now at a point where I'm okay. I would still like somebody, I would prefer somebody, but I'm not desperate. I can wait as long as it takes because I'm good now. I'm in a good place now, as long as it does take. I hope I don't have to wait forever because, life is short and I want to spend more quality time with her. But I'm not letting the absence of a soulmate stop me from living or loving myself. And that's my invitation to you. You are worthy of love. You're good enough for love. You get love. And if no other human being in the world is there to give it to you, you can give it to yourself. And God is giving it to you. Whether you can feel it or not, God is loving you. God loves you right where you are, who you are right now in this moment. You don't have to change, you don't have to grow, you don't have to heal. God loves and accepts you right in this moment as you are. And God sees it all. There's no fooling God, right? God knows the whole picture, the whole story, the real you. And He loves you. He accepts you. He wants you. He values you. And I know it's hard for a lot of us to feel God's love. I sometimes have trouble feeling it. A lot of times I have trouble feeling it. I just get lost in my own thoughts and feelings or too busy in life. And you got to tune in. You got to make the space, um, and be willing to receive it too. Because remember earlier I mentioned, like, as much as you love yourself is how much love you can feel. And for a long, long time, my self-love was limited. And that's as much as I could feel or receive from anybody else, including God. But whether or not you can feel it is irrelevant. God still loves you. Like, it can be nighttime where you are. There can be no trace of sunlight, but the sun's still there. Even if it's daytime and maybe it's overcast, it's cloudy and there's a storm going on, the sun's still there, still shining, still warming the planet. It's the same thing with God's love. Whether you see it or not, you feel it or not, it's actually still there. It's still happening. But your ability to feel love, even from a soulmate, is going to be limited by how much you can receive, how much you can love yourself. So ask yourself, what do you need to feel more loved right now in this moment? What can you do? Is it eat a piece of chocolate? Is it go for a walk out in nature? Uh, go for a run or exercise, ride a bike? Endorphins make you feel good. Treat yourself to a movie. Take a nap. A bubble bath. Whatever. There's lots of ways to love ourselves. Ask your own heart, what do you need in this moment? And it's going to change moment by moment, day by day. So just always check in. Hey, I want to give love to you. What do you need? How do you want to be loved right now? And listen to that. And to the best of your ability, to the best of your resources, to what's available within your schedule, make time for that love. You deserve it. You're worthy of it. And the more you love yourself, the more you're going to be able to feel other people's love. But the funny thing happens is more people start showing up giving love too that weren't there before. You start attracting more loving relationships in your life. So if you were in an unfortunate situation where you didn't feel loved growing up, you didn't receive enough love in your formative years, or maybe later in life, you had a major heartbreak and betrayal and whatever the case might be, and you have a hard time feeling and believing in love now, whatever the case might be, stuff happens. It's not our fault. It happens to us. If there's a lack of love, a lack of feeling loved, just start asking yourself, what do you want? What do you need today, right now, in this moment? What can I give you to help you feel just a little bit more loved than a moment before? Just start with that and build on it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I love all the comments, the positive feedback you guys have been giving me. Thank you so much. Please keep that up. It really motivates and inspires me to keep going and making videos. I appreciate you. I love you. And if you have other questions you want me to talk about, leave those in the comments too. Here's a nice little video that the YouTube algorithm says is appropriate and you should enjoy next. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.